You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
All right, Thom Gooslby is our guest, local attorney, announced candidate for the 9th District, New Hanover County State Senate seat. All right, this whole ABC controversy, it's kind of been a big story. It started out here and it kind of morphed throughout the state. Give us your take on the controversy about the leadership, the money, the lack of oversight.
It's what we were just talking about in our last segment about the state being in business. I mean, you know, we can talk about all the economic incentive things they've done and all the screw-ups that have occurred in that. It is totally brought to a head and shown to you exactly what it's like when you put the government in charge of private business, when you see what's happened with ABC Board. Each one is its own little separate entity in each community. Each one has a board that runs it that are all political people that have been appointed by other politicians to run. It is just a circus and a mess.
Do you think the state should get out of the business?
Absolutely.
And it should be privatized?
It should be privatized. Absolutely. I mean, why is this, is there a constitutional reason the state is in the liquor business? Are you kidding me? No, absolutely not. I mean, the state does a lot of things that do not make any sense to me. And I think the first thing we've got to do in North Carolina is sort through what the state does.
Do you think the New Hanover County Commission was asleep at the wheel while all this was going on?
If they can otherwise justify how they were paying somebody who ran our little ABC store here, the kind of salary they were paying him and his son, and now he retires making $100,000 a year, I mean, are you kidding? I mean, you know, that's ridiculous.
Because Sans one, it's an all-Republican board, and you were saying that the Republicans, there's a different culture among Democrats and Republicans, and that sounds like it was...
well, again, these were not even elected officials. I mean,
the commission who
appointed
where the buck stops,
yeah,
are.
And they should be held accountable, and I think are being held accountable, and I think the way to solve this problem. And again, none of those board members have been accused of any kind of criminality. We're not talking about the really bad stuff, but we are talking about a waste of a lot of our tax dollars that is completely unexcusable and needs to be stopped.
Although that 3-person board you're talking about, that appointed board, who all resigned en masse after
as they should have
all these revelations, didn't document meetings, which is required by law.
Can I speak on that? Let me tell you, you know what the punishment is for not documenting meetings and for not obeying the open meetings laws and the open records laws? Nothing. You have to go into court as a citizen, sue them, get the records if they're still around, but there's no criminal punishment for that. I would like to see it be made at least a misdemeanor in North Carolina. If you don't obey our open meetings and our open records laws, you get to be dragged into court and explain that to a judge based upon you being charged at least with a misdemeanor, because right now what happens? Either you get the records or you don't, or they've been destroyed or they're just not existent. That's ridiculous. The people have a right to know what is being done in their name and how their money's being spent. And that's the way to stop it. That's the way to all this other stuff, boards and commissions and inquiries. No, it's real easy. Real smart and easy things can be done. I don't think government's complicated. I think all this stuff that people have been told and how corrupt things are and how complicated, it's not complicated. If the government doesn't take all your money and they get back just to the simple tasks of doing what they're supposed to do, and then you get to know everything they do, that's pretty easy.
Bee tree nourishment. State spends a lot of money, local government spends a lot of money. Do you favor that?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about, you're talking about the federal questions as far as bee tree nourishment
goes? I'm talking about the state spending money on bee tree nourishment, since you were running for state office.
Right, and as far as, on the state issues, I'm not going to get into anything federal with the Army Corps of Engineers and all that when it deals with the congressional.
But do you favor the state supporting bee tree nourishment?
I favor us doing what we need to do to keep our coasts protected, to see that we have good fisheries, that we don't have our houses fall into the sea, that we have responsible development on our beaches and such. I mean, absolutely. We can't, I mean, we've got to make sure our waterways are clear and clean, and that our commercial fishermen and recreational fishermen and folks who like to enjoy the beach and surf like I do have a beach to enjoy.
How important is it for the state senator for the 9th District to have a good relationship with Wilmington City Council and the New Hanover County Commission?
Well, I think it's important to know what their views are and to express yours, to know what it is we need in eastern North Carolina.
I mean, if the city comes to you and says, we need help with building a convention center, for example,
well,
which is how this whole project unfolded, would you be a cooperative partner in something like that?
Only in things that I believed in, that I thought were good.
Did you believe in the convention center?
Absolutely not. No. I mean, it's...
So you wouldn't help if they needed help, with some state help in finding a developer for the adjacent hotel?
I think that convention center is a problem. It is a mistake. It is one we're going to have to deal with. What do we do in the aftermath to try to keep it from being a complete black hole? I cannot speculate on that at this point. I do not want the taxpayers to lose any money. I want us to do what we need to do to deal with the problem, whether it's the waste incinerator and those kinds of issues, or all the bad spending ideas that politicians seem to come up with. Why in the world the people of New Hanover County should be paying for a convention center that no private business will come in and build?
We're almost out of time.
Yeah.
I want to ask, I've been asking, I want to let you put forward some of the issues you're going to focus your campaign on.
Well, first and foremost is jobs in our area, and doing everything we can to see to it that the state does not impinge upon that. The fact the governor thinks she's going to create jobs by having bureaucrats come into your business and teach you how to run it. My plan is to get government off the backs of the people, to reduce our taxes, to number one, have a zero-based budgeting where we look at the priorities of what the people need, and then we start making cuts on the things that aren't prioritized. We reduce that. We have the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. We don't allow the spending to continue doing what it's doing. We reduce taxes. We reduce the corporate income tax rate, or get rid of it completely. Reduce our sales taxes, do everything we need to make this a positive business climate. We just dropped 4 places as far as our economic rating in the states, the largest drop of any state. We've got to stop that slide. We've got to make North Carolina a positive place where we can all be happy.
We're out of time.
Don,
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Next week, we'll take a look at the other side of the primary race. Attorney Michael Lee will be here as our guest on Byline Wilmington. Until then, we'll see you next week. Have a great week.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning at 11 as we explore the issues that concern you.